Meanwhile, President Cyril Ramaphosa has declared a special provincial official funeral for University of Cape Town cardiologist Professor Bongani Mayosi.
Well, he passed away last week at the age of 51. Mayosi had been suffering from depression for the past 2 years.
He was the Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences at UCT and also an A-rated National Research Foundation researcher. He'll be buried this coming Saturday. This report compiled for us by our reporter Nomawethu Solwandle.
Well, a very good afternoon to you. I can confirm that students, friends, as well as colleagues have started arriving here at the Jamison Memorial Hall, where we will be remembering the late Professor Bongani Mayosi. Now, I remember last week when the Vice-Chancellor of this university spoke to us, she said that this was someone that's gone to win every single award there is to win. This is a man that could walk into any office in the world, not just in South Africa, in the world, and people will want to work with him. He was inspiring. People talk about him as someone that has achieved so much. But we also know that the professor actually took his own life last week, and this has put a spotlight on the illness of depression, especially amongst academics, especially amongst black men. A lot of psychologists or clinical psychologists have come out to say, you know, we need to speak more about these things. We need to speak more about issues that affect us. We know that Professor Mayosi was also very vocal and very interested in the fees must fall protests at this university. I mean, there's a video that we've been playing for you where you can see him jumping around in his red gown with students singing along. So these were issues that really touched him as an academic. But joining me now is one of his colleagues, Mr. Professor Xolela Mancu. Sir, thank you so much for joining us. Remembering a giant, someone who was very instrumental in academia. Just tell us how you'll remember Professor Mayosi.
Well, first of all, I mean, Bongani and I go back, we're part of the same generation. And he was, quite frankly, the best of our generation. He was smart, he was kind, generous with his time, and he was the one who really brought the handful of black professors here every month together in a restaurant here in Cape Town, and we would just talk and he would share his vision. And he did that without fail every month. It's a sad loss for South Africa. And you know, it's the students really loved Bongani. He came out, protested alongside them in his red gown, and he cared deeply about students here at UCT, and cared deeply about his work, and cared deeply about these questions of transformation.
You know, we talk about this incredible man in terms of academia and caring about other people. Just tell us more about the role, the relationship that he may have had with the students, especially black students who were in the Fees Must Fall campaign.
It's unfortunate, actually, that the Vice-Chancellor of the university, barely a couple of days after Bongani died, kind of injected this into the national narrative. We should have been mourning and taking time to talk about Bongani and think about Bongani and leave those issues to another time. And to blame the students is actually to distract, quite frankly, from the university, from the role of the university, from the way the university treats black academics. Bongani is not the first black academic to die in this university. You know, Jeff Bagwa died. He was in the medical school as well. We need to know how Jeff Bagwa died. Achima Feje died a social death because of what this university did to him. So, you know, to put the spotlight on students when there are much more powerful forces that play in this university is really actually irresponsible and quite disingenuous.
I know that the VC has also gone on to say, you know, there are a lot of people that are grappling with mental illnesses in this institution. In fact, they've gone on to get to start wellness centers in all the various departments. Just what's your view on this?
Well, I have personal experience of the racism here in this university by colleagues, by people, generally a certain disdain, if you like, a certain contempt, if you like, for black academics. And we need to get to the root of that. If you really, really want to know why some of us are leaving the university before we die, we need an overall truthful engagement with the culture of the University of Cape Town.
Now, Professor, I just want to tap into your mind here a bit as an academic, as a black academic as well. Let's talk more about the other issues that or Professor Mayosi was grappling with, depression. How prevalent is this, especially amongst black men, black academics?
I'm not a medical expert at all, but depression is a national problem. And there's no way of not getting into depression when every day when you're going to work, you are being questioned. I mean, Bongani was being questioned, this guy has won every award. He's respected internationally. He writes for all these international publications. But people here at UCT will question his credentials, his competence. So it's very sad. That's why I keep going back to what do we as black academics actually have to do before we die, right? To avoid this kind of experience. And that issue is an institutional issue. It cannot be put on students. Students have treated me badly, but I would be foolish to explain my situation in terms of the way that they've treated me, calling me names, even though I've been very supportive of them, right? That is not the root cause of our problems at UCT.
Now, Prof, before I let you go, I see people are walking inside already. Just how will we remember this incredible scholar, this incredible man, Professor Mayosi?
Bongani always had a smile on his face. He always had a smile. We will remember him for his genius. But those of us who knew him will remember him for his generosity. He was a kind, decent, hard-working man with a great vision for this country, for the continent of Africa. He was just a lovely, lovely man.
Well, thank you so much for sharing those views with us and for sharing some of the memories that you have with Professor Mayosi. Thank you so much. Well, that there was Professor Xolela Mango sharing some memories, fond memories that he has with Professor Bongani Mayosi, talking about other issues that the university as an institution may face at this point in time. He tapped into issues such as racism, but of course these are issues that we need to take further with the university as well. He did say that this was an incredible academic. He was an incredible scholar, not only here in South Africa, but on a global level. That's who he was. This was someone that always walked around with a smile. This was a kind man that we will be remembering here at UCT. I can see people are starting to walk inside the hall now. Things are expected to start at about 4 o'clock this morning. We're expecting academics, we're expecting students, we're expecting family and friends to come and remember Professor Bongani Mayosi.
Well, a sad time indeed in the medical fraternity and for the rest of the country. A loss not only for the medical community, but for mankind as a whole. This was one of the brightest minds on the continent. And the Professor Mayosi's death really highlighting mental health issues, not only among doctors, but a larger society as well.
It is indeed true. I mean, the hashtag that trended, what was it? Hashtag depression is real. I think it actually got the message through.
It is indeed a silent killer, one that we should not underestimate by any cost. And sadly, there are only 175 active cardiologists in South Africa. So really that also signals a huge problem in terms of shortages and a huge loss for the country. Condolences once again to the